Welcome to another episode of Same Page. We are your hosts, Sarah Semajust.
And I'm Lena Semajust.
Today we have two special guests. I feel like I always say that, but it's so true. We met with them actually for the first time last week, and we know each other through our real estate investing group. So we have Esther, Nicolas, Nicolas, and Matthew Regan with us today. We both live in Ottawa, just like we do. So before we start and before we ask you to introduce yourselves a little bit, I'm just going to ask you just like icebreaker question. Okay?
Okay, we're ready.
Yeah. No right or wrong answer.
Race for impact.
Yeah.
So if you could have for the rest of your life, always green lights, green traffic lights, or never have to stand in line again, what would you choose?
Ooh, never have to stand in line again. Or, you know what? Now that I'm a parent, I enjoy waiting in line once in a while, because then I can just take a break and, reflect and not think of anything or anybody else. Actually, I remember, and I love my kids to pieces, but I remember when they were really, really little, because they're 17 months apart, I was really excited to go for blood work because I would have a break, and I would just be all by myself. And I was like, oh, I'm going to get blood work. It's going to be so like relaxing and nice. And I was really disappointed that there was no lineups. And because I had brought a book and I was like ready to wait. And I was like, that's it.
I think I have the opposite. I think I would, I think I'd go to, and sorry to not have the exact same response as you, but I'd go for the, I'm going to go for the red lights.
Yeah.
For the green lights.
Sorry, the green lights.
Yes.
Red and green.
Go for the green lights. I feel like over time, I got less and less patience. I just want to get from point A to point B.
Well, you know what? I'm going to have to side with you on this one, Matthew. I would, well, for now, maybe after kids, maybe my perspective will change and no lineups. But for now, all green lights sounds wonderful to me.
Mm-hmm. And you see more and more people getting rear-ended. It must be the text messaging.
Right.
I don't want to stop at red lights anymore.
Yeah. No distractions, no red lights.
Exactly. What about you?
For me, it'll probably be the same thing. Probably the green lights.
Yeah.
Like I tend to be a kind of an impatient driver, to say the least. So if I can get all green lights, that'd be wonderful. That'd be
3 against 1.
Yeah, no, I like that.
It's not a competition.
It's not a competition, Matthew.
Exactly. So how about you tell us a little bit about yourselves?
Sure.
You
can start. So I won't go too into detail, but yeah, I'm from just outside of Halifax. I always tell people I'm from Halifax because not too many people know where Dartmouth, Cole Harbour area is. And I grew up in the Dartmouth, Cole Harbour area. And I went to university there, did my undergrad in Halifax. And then after that, I wanted a different experience. So I moved to Quebec, actually, and lived in Montreal for almost 7, 8 years. And then from there, we moved to Ottawa. I did my master's in Montreal at McGill in social work, which is not the most common degree you hear in the real estate community, but I did my degree in my master's in social work, and I work as a social worker now at a hospital here in Ottawa. And aside from that, as you know, we have 2 beautiful kids, a dog, and we love our home here in Ottawa. Yeah, been here for 7 years, coming up 8 years now.
8 years.
Yeah. And no regrets. We love it here.
Yes,
awesome.
And a lot of it is the same because we lived in Montreal together for 8 years, although we met in Halifax. I'm from Saint-Jérôme in the Laurentians, so it's like 30-40 minutes north of Montreal. Did my undergrad in teaching English as a second language, actually, and at UQAM, Université du Québec à Montréal, and then we did our master's together. I did mine in education and society, and that's it. After a master's, we were just ready for like a smaller city. We really liked Ottawa, and we liked the outdoors, and we had come, you know, a couple of times during the weekend, and we loved Gatineau Park, and so
it just feels like it was the perfect fit for us. Like we're both not from Montreal. I guess you're 45 or so north, and it was just kind of I guess what's great about Ottawa, it's kind of where it's the one size fits all for Canada. Like it doesn't matter what part of the country you're from, or wherever, or anywhere for that matter. Just kind of you'll feel at home here, I guess.
Yeah, and a lot of people are not from Ottawa too, and we just found a really, really good group of friends here, and we enjoy it.
It's got kind of the perfect blend of outdoor activities and good restaurants. There's professional sports teams. It's clean.
And it's bilingual.
Bilingual city, like we, as you know, we speak French at home mainly, but and so we kind of get both languages here.
Okay. Awesome. Yeah, I think we get a good background of where you guys from, and it seems like you guys have also lived in various cities. So I think sometimes that's advantageous in the sense, like in the real estate world, because you can kind of compare cities, and you're a little bit more familiar with their markets. And like the areas, specific areas, because obviously, you know, in every city, there's like better areas, and, you know, where's the areas where people may or may not want to invest. So that's pretty cool that you guys sort of, you know, hopped around. So I think in real estate, I think that's really good. So I'm just going to ask you, what led you to start your real estate journey? I know you started in 2015, if I'm not mistaken. And by the looks of it, you guys have steadily been buying and holding. So tell us about how you came across this idea, like why real estate investing?
Well, we wanted to buy a house for ourselves. We knew, like, we got married in 2014, and we knew we wanted a house, and we knew we wanted kids. So we just started looking around, and we actually made, although at the time it was a buyer's market,
very end of a buyer's market, I guess.
Yeah, we still made a couple of offers on like other homes that didn't really work out, because we were really set on like our price, because we knew we wanted to transform the basement into a secondary dwelling. So we wanted the numbers to work. And we got really lucky. We found a great 1960s bungalow in a great area that we like, near the Ottawa Hospital.
We never, I suppose we never really thought of kind of getting to where we're at now, where we're getting into multifamilies
and getting a coach, and like that was
and so on. Like it was more that it was
ever.
more like we didn't have kids at the time, and it just felt like a natural thing to do. We didn't need all that space. I mean, living in Montreal for so many years, just having small apartments, being in a big bungalow, we said like, well, we don't need that lower level. Let's transform it and rent it out. And then a few years went by, and basically from the forced appreciation and the market taking off, when we were able to pull out some equity, and we almost had this feeling like, is this legal?
Yeah, we almost felt guilty. Like I remember the first check that we got from, because for 5 years we had long-term tenants in the basement, and then we did one Airbnb year, which we really liked, but then we just stopped because with the kids running around and the dog and everything, it was just too stressful, you know, to say don't walk.
And I mean, we say that like it was just kind of an easy thing to do, but I mean, there was a lot of hard work that went. Like we really had to scrounge things together. I mean, you know, at one point I was working 2 jobs, at my permanent job at one of the hospitals here, and I was working part-time or on weekends in an emergency room at another hospital. And we had our kids in part-time daycare, because I did shift work and had them under my care during my days off. We shared a car. We didn't take vacations. Like everything went into getting that lower level, the secondary dwelling. And then once it started rolling, obviously, like, you know, we only really thought of it when we received our check at the beginning of every month, right? Because we almost just felt like we were in like a semi-detached, where instead of sharing a wall, we were sharing the floor.
Because we lived in apartments for so many years, like it really didn't make any difference for us. We were used to small spaces anyway, and we never saw our tenants because they had, you know, separate entrance and everything. And
and then
it was just easy, you know, so easy that we wanted to do it again. And that's when we decided to get a row house. The next one was a row house in Orleans.
Freehold row house in Orleans. Once we pulled some of the equity and obviously had some savings from renting out the secondary dwelling, we were able to get a townhouse. And from there, was great, because then all of a sudden we didn't really need that lower level anymore, but we continued on. Like Esther said, we did a bit of short-term rental. And then from there, same thing, the market continued up, but, and we forced appreciation again. Like we did some small rentals, like we swapped out the appliances for stainless steel. I did some flooring, backsplash, light fixtures, just basic stuff. And then
we always buy, you know, something with good bones. But that we can work on the cosmetic, you know, we don't want to get into really crazy rehabs, not only for financial reasons, but also we're busy, like working full time and everything. We just can't handle huge renos. So we like, you know, things that, okay, we know they're good, but they can have a facelift, you know, use a facelift. And we've done it ourselves, not the basement. We hired someone for the basement, but for the two other houses, Matthew did it himself, and the kids come and help us.
And then so we got from there we got another one in Arnprior, and then after that we said, like, we kind of wanted to scale up to the next level, and we said, well, like, we'll probably be okay if we just continued at it, but we'd probably be able to cut that time in half if we got some more education and got the right coach and so on. And we wanted to get into multis just because it made sense. Like if you have, you know, one tenant, you have one roof. If you go vacant, you're 100% vacant, right? Whereas if you're into a sixplex or triplex or what have you, if you go vacant, the other tenants can kind of cover off your loss, or they're all paying into the. So anyways, it would just made sense. And now where we are right now, we're getting close to closing off on a triplex. We got another one under contract that's a sixplex, and then one that just came up. There's a 25 unit as a potential as a joint venture. We're asked to potentially participate in a joint venture, but it's been a whole lot of learning and
it's good. We see that things are starting to open up, and although it's a lot of work, we also really enjoy it. So no, it's just a great adventure, you know, and COVID is the perfect time to do that. It's really like, what else is there to do, right?
Now you guys said a lot right there. So before we go as far as where you guys are, as far as the next level, I want to backtrack a little bit, because you mentioned that initially you guys didn't have any coaching, you guys didn't have a mentor, you guys weren't part of a mastermind. So where did you get the idea of buying a bungalow and then adding the secondary unit, like and then also you mentioned that you ran some numbers. So where did that idea come from? Like,
That's a great question.
Did you hear from someone, or did you come up with it yourself? Like
I want to know your answer first, and then
there's a lot. Like, I don't know where the exact spot was, but there's been a ton. Like, we watched a lot of TV, a lot of podcasts.
Scott McGilvery
was like we saw that. What was the name of it?
Income
Property. Saw that one. Love that but then like we had watched that for I don't know if it was right before we but anyways for
a couple of years, and we were like, oh, if Scott and all these people can do it, you know, we can do it too. It seems like fun and easy, you know.
But there was that. But there was I think it's just something that kept coming up. Like we looked at. We read a lot of books on it, and we listened to podcasts, and there's just a lot of content out there, but it's something that just kept coming up, that bungalows were great for putting in secondary dwellings. And in terms of running the numbers, like, we really got lucky, because we didn't, right now, when we run our numbers now, like, we take into account everything. Like, we're looking at all the bills, we're, doing CapEx.
We got lucky.
We're putting in, we'll be on the conservative side and put, higher interest rates and all kinds of other things. Like we really run our numbers right now. Back then, we would look at it and say, okay, what's the mortgage payment? Yeah, that's lower than what the rent rates are. I think we're good to go.
It's all we need to know.
But there's a lot more to it than that. And yeah, there's been a lot of learning along the way. Like we've had, you know, little things come up, like we've had floods.
The book that really changed everything was Rich Dad Poor Dad. I know so many investors say that, but that was the book that really changed at least my mindset. I was like, whoa, it's possible. I remember there's a line that says, you don't have to climb the corporate ladder, just own the ladder. And I was like, wow, mind blown. You know, I can't believe it. I just, you know, never really thought of it. And I never had a, you know, entrepreneurial goals or anything. I was always like good at school, and I really liked, you know, going to university and teaching, and I'm still super passionate about my job. So it was never, you know, an option to do something else or like start a company or anything.
Like it's funny because this comes up a lot in the real estate community. A lot of people are saying like, well, I got into it because I want to quit my job, or I want to leave my job. I don't like, I wouldn't say we're part of that club. Like we like our job. Like I really, I love, like I have a great employer, a great team. Like it's a great place to be. Like we kind of got into it more, I guess, initially because it helped pay our mortgage, but now we kind of, now with the kids, like we look at it more long term.
Like this is something
this is something we can leave to our kids. We're not into it to kind of get rich, like, or anything like that. It's more that it's gonna be something we can hand off to our kids and have them start off on the right foot
and have flexibility in the future too. You know, if we decide to, you know, I don't know, work part-time at some point, if our kids are, you know, need us more.
It's a great safety net, maybe put it that way. It's a great safety net, like where we never, until we started doing a lot of reading and talking to other investors, like I always felt that you know, having a job was just the safest thing, right? A secure job with a good pension, all, and it is. It's an excellent.
And we're super grateful. Like,
yeah,
so grateful,
but
especially
it is one stream of income, right? And that is a vulnerable place to put yourself, right? Like if you have one stream of income, that can be a vulnerable place to be. Whereas if you own you know, several properties, that's several streams of income, and if you buy right, it's very safe, right? Real estate's, from what we know, it's very forgiving in the long run, right? If you do make mistakes up front, right? So say you
don't run your numbers
properly. You don't run your numbers properly, and you buy at you know, much higher price than, you know, way over market value. Or if you didn't take into consideration that the roof is going to go within a few years, or the furnace, or the windows, or what have you, in the long run, those mistakes are forgiven if you hold on long enough. But anyways, all that to say, you know, we're happy to be in the position we are. I think, you know, we're optimistic about where real estate is taking us, and
yeah, we should probably let them ask.
I suppose we'll let you.
No, does it mean that we talk for a living? We just can't.
It shows.
No. Just wind us up and let us go.
Yes, no, it's fine, because then you answer all the questions. We don't have to ask them. You're doing your work. It's perfect. No, you said a lot of key points about like just the cash flow and having sort of it's not a safety net, but just a secondary income stream. Mm-hmm. Same thing, something very similar to you, Esther, happened to me where I needed to be away from work, and it kind of like breaks your heart not to be able to be with family because you have to work and your time is dedicated to your work, right? So that was also, although we were sort of already in the real estate market, but for us, it was almost a catalyst as well to just increase your portfolio, because we just saw the power of buying back your time through these investments. Yeah. Now, in this partnership, because I see you guys are both into the business, is that correct?
Mm-hmm. Yes, totally. Yeah.
do you guys have roles? How do you guys manage that? Who's more maybe on the phone with realtors, or finding deals, or who runs the numbers? Have you guys defined those roles, or do you guys just kind of like intertwine and go with the flow?
I think it's a good question.
Excellent.
I think we're still in the phase where we're still figuring it out ourselves, and whoever has free time at that point, that's the person who does it. I think naturally Matthew does a lot of the property management, choosing the tenants. I do all the ads, like more that side. I like to find deals. Most of the time I'm the deal finder. Yeah. I run numbers, although we both run numbers.
I feel like we're both able to do all areas of
we
it.
Both do discovery calls.
Yeah.
We both enjoyed speaking to the agents and everything, but because Matthew's schedule allows him to be off during the week, it makes a big difference sometimes, because he has more time to deal with the insurance person or whatever, or people who work in an office from 9 to 5. He's going to be the one taking care of that for the most part.
But that said, depending on the day, we may say our list à faire, our to-do list, it may be, get in touch with our broker or mortgage broker, call this agent, touch base with this tenant. Some days that's on me, and other days Esther's doing the exact same thing. But in terms of defined roles, we don't have, things that I do specifically and only I, and Esther has things that she does and only her.
Except putting backsplash on. I do the finishing touches sometimes, but I choose it, and then Matthew does it for the most part.
I don't choose the kind of backsplash. So this is an interesting one. So I'm actually colorblind or color deficient.
Okay.
So anything to do with what type of flooring, what the colors, all that stuff, I leave it to Esther. Point me in the direction, and I'll install.
Okay. Well, at least you guys won't fight about that role.
No, we won't.
There's no fighting
about
that.
Exactly.
Yeah. Sometimes it's a lot of pressure, but
and that's it. There's no confusion whatsoever on where we want to go and why we're doing it or anything like that. We don't seem we never butt heads or anything like that.
Yeah, we're very lucky that way. We're on the same page, completely. Of course, once in a while we'll have little disagreements. I think that's normal, but we never had to convince the other to get into real estate or to do anything really. It just flows. We have very similar personalities,
and we both respect each other, when it comes to if we have to pull the plug on a deal, of course, you do have to walk away from some deals, right, where the numbers just don't work anymore. We never step on each other's toes. If you say, listen, I think this is a good stopping point with this one, that's the way it goes, right? If we want to pull out of a deal, we respect that.
And we're always careful to never play the blame game. It doesn't matter whose fault it is.
Yeah.
So, for example, earlier today, I completely ruined our brand new. I felt terrible, but I completely ruined our brand new patio set table that we bought at the end of last summer, because I used a product. I was so excited to clean it. I used a product with bleach in it, and it's completely it removed all the paint. And Matt was so nice about it, and I felt terrible, and he was like, "It's okay, babe.
This beautiful,
mistakes happen."
Massive black table.
Yes,
that looks like a zebra now.
I was like, oh no.
I spent the day setting up, because I had a nice stone patio outside, and I set it up, have this big umbrella over it beside the barbecue, and I had it all over. I come
home and I just ruined the whole thing, but he never blamed me, and I really appreciate that.
That takes, I don't know if I could do it, Matthew. I mean,
I had a mow. I had to push it down.
Right.
At the end of the day, it's a table. It's not going to change life.
That's what was going through my head.
No, exactly. But no. And you know when you mess up, right? You already feel bad enough.
Yes, I know. That's very true.